Almost everybody has access to drones nowadays, whether they're being used for security purposes or just for fun. So how can you know how the drone flying above you is being used? Joining us today in the studio is Zvika Alon, the CEO of Rada Electronic, which helps identify drones that are a threat. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So you're coming in today just after we found out that Hezbollah is actually using attack drones to attack Syrian targets. There was a video that was just released this week revealing true evidence that this has been happening, even though Hezbollah has been claiming to having been using these drones for the last 2 years. So can you tell us about the radar system your company makes and how that would have an impact on the fact that we now know Hezbollah is using attack drones?
Okay, first let's talk about the problem. Drones are being used for many, many years. Until recently, they were large and expensive and needed a runway to take off and land and needed a sophisticated command and control system and mainly were operated by the military. What happened in the last couple of years and mainly last year is that because of the industry, the gaming industry, these things became very small and very available to everybody. I'm not talking directly about Hezbollah. They may be using still larger drones, but the smaller ones are now available, and they were talking about 1 million of them sold only during last Christmas. So they are readily available. You can order them online, and anybody can have them. Now, most of the people buying them will be, kids want to play, and nobody means any harm. But as long as the technology is available, people will use it also for malicious purposes, and this is where we come in. Now, in order to counter the threat, you need to detect it, to identify it, and then to eliminate it. We have developed a series of radars that are different in terms of size and performance that are capable to detect them. Now, when you need to detect these small things, there are a lot of issues about the technology that could be used to detect them. Radar capability is superior because it works in day and night and bad weather and so on, not unlike visual system like cameras and so on, and can cover a long range and cover a lot of volume. You can look almost everywhere using a radar. Now, because the drones are what they are, it's not everything you detect is a real threat. So you need to, after you detect it, you need to identify it. And this is usually done by connecting a camera to the radar. Once the radar detects the drone, the camera is pointed at this detection, and then you can zoom in and see actually what it is. Now, the smaller the drones are, the slower they fly. So it's not that you have 2 seconds. You have some time to deal with it, but still, it's not a lot.
Right.
So you need, once your camera identifies it, and then you can see whether it's a bird or a drone or exactly what it is, then there are several ways you can use to neutralize it, which depends where you are. If it's a border situation like you mentioned Hezbollah, usually you will be able to shoot it down one way or another, which is not our business at all. But if it's above a city or above a populated area, you usually don't shoot there. You don't have any weapons there. So the ways that are being used now, there's several ways of electronic countermeasures that are used to jam the drone communication. Usually these kind of small drones are being operated by someone sitting not very far from them.
Right.
If you manage to interfere the communication between the operator and the drone, you can sometimes even take over control of the drone and force it to land.
So your radar system essentially allows you to do that?
So our radar system is the enabling technology. The first step to detect these things are there.
Okay.
And then we, together with other companies that we work with, build the integrated system that detects, identifies, and neutralizes the drone.
Interesting. So, what is the technology behind these radars? What are you doing exactly to be able to have this capability?
we are a defense electronic company for many years. In the last recent years, our way of doing business is usually to take industrial technology which is readily available and adapt it to the military needs. This used to be the opposite, 10, 20 years ago. Always the military was leading the technological development. Now this is the opposite. Everybody has an iPhone, and which is, superb computer. Nobody had it 10 years ago. And the same technology can be used to build radars and all other military electronics. So that's what we do. And what this means is that we can use components and the technology which is readily available. Anybody can use it. Anybody can buy it in multiple sources. You are not forced to use somebody in particular. But the smart part of it is our software and our integration of industrial components that makes it what we want it to be.
So what are your hopes? What is the goal with this product?
This radar family is not only used for drones. It has many other uses. For example, one of the contracts that we published a year ago was that our radar, the same radar exactly, was selected by the Israeli Defense Forces to extend the alert time around Gaza against mortar fire. So this actually saves life. They said, the military here said that they extended the time, the alert time for the civilian population around Gaza from 5 seconds to 15 or 20 seconds. This is because they use our radars. So here I feel very proud. We actually
I
save
read about
life.
that actually. We reported on that not long ago.
Right, and we reported and they reported, and this is our radar now. It's true that these kind of situations where civilian population is under attack of mortar fire is not very common around the world. This is our problem. There are very few other places.
It's more specific to Israel.
Right, but still, we feel very proud about this situation, and we hope that the same defense will be provided not only around Gaza, but in other places or other borders around Israel, just to make people feel safe and actually be safe.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it sounds like you guys have created an amazing product here, and I'm excited to kind of see what the future is with drones. And, are we going to be seeing them in the sky everywhere? If that's the case, your product will very much come in handy. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.